Welcome to our weekly Badass Business Bites. Super excited. I know it's been a while since we've been live together. We're talking about Shopify 2.0 and whether or not you should even bother switching. So if you're here with me live, say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. As you noticed, I had a little bit longer of a countdown. It felt a little long, right? But I wanted to give everyone time to get the notification and to come because Facebook hasn't been super friendly with the event invites lately. So I'm trying something new. And we are going live with StreamYard. So if you've never given permission, please go up to the description and give permission so that I can see your name when you comment. All right. So one other quick housekeeping thing. Hi, Amy. Hi, Facebook user. Is if you are a lounge member, this replay will also be added to the lounge. So if you don't get to watch the whole thing or you want to come back and rewatch it, you'll be able to do that in your membership hub. So let's talk Shopify 2.0. There are two main features that make Shopify 2.0 different than what you were already using. And we're going to talk about both of those today. I'm going to show you what they look like and give you some ideas on how you can use them so you can figure out if it makes sense for you or not. Because while it sounds cool, switching themes is kind of a pain in the ass on Shopify, right? They're completely independent of one another. You have to redo all of your settings. You have to reintegrate apps. You have to redo your homepage. So it can be a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. Now, we are in Q1, so now is a great time to do it, but maybe you have other things that you're focused on, like driving traffic or expanding your product line or working on your email marketing. So I don't want you to feel like you have to do this. Maybe it's not a Q1 project for you. Maybe it's a Q2. Maybe it's a next year. You are not required to upgrade by Shopify. Your existing theme and all of that is going to continue to work as expected. So don't feel like you have to do it, like your site is going to break, because that's not what's going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about the two main features. And if at any point you guys have questions, pop them in the comments and I will answer them along the way. The first one is called Metafields. And I know it sounds like a fancy word, but all Metafields are additional fields that you can store data in on the product profile. So where you go to put, the title, the description, the vendor, the product type. It's just additional fields that are housed there where you can add additional information about your products. Now, Shopify always had Metafields. They were always a thing, but you needed an app to access them, whereas now they live natively inside of the Shopify admin. My previous day job, we used Metafields for a lot, actually, but most smaller stores likely are not using them because they didn't know how to use the app and all that good stuff. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in a moment. And then the other one is more easily creating different templates for your products, pages, and collections. So right now, when you get a theme, it comes with a default template for your product, your collections, and your pages, right? Some newer themes do have alternate templates, but you're really only limited to what the theme gives you unless you want to go and mess with the code. And I know that scares a lot of people. So now you can actually duplicate. It's just a quick little button, and I'm going to show it to you, so don't worry. But it's just a quick little button that you can duplicate a template and change it so that you have multiple different types of templates that you can use. So let's talk about why we would want to use these fields. Metafields are great, say, if you have skincare and you have ingredients that you want to post on your website, but you put them in the description and it gets really long and it's like obnoxious for the user. So you could have a separate field that holds your ingredients that you then put on your product template. Maybe you buy from, if you're a reseller, right? You buy things at wholesale and then you resell them. Maybe there's a few brands that you have a really great relationship with. There are other small businesses, you really love them, and you want to give them a bigger presence on your website. So you could create a product template that is specific to that brand, that you maybe on the bottom, you have sections like you do on the homepage. So you have sections where you can put more content in. You can share more about that business. Where are they from? How do they create their products? Who's the people behind the business? And then each product of theirs that you sell, you assign them their own product template, and then that information will show up on all of their products. So some of you may be thinking like, wow, that's really cool, but I'm not really sure how I would use it in my business. If by the end of this video, you are not super clear or you don't have an idea of how you can use these features, that's probably a sign that you don't have to worry about it right now. If you have competing priorities, if you are working on growing traffic, or maybe you're starting to do ads, or you're working on your email and you don't really see the vision, then don't worry about it. If you're like, oh my God, this would make my life so much easier because these are things I'm already trying to do and accomplish, then I would say maybe you need to tweak your priorities a little bit, because you certainly don't want to be working on your website in Q3 and Q4. You have like the first half of the year is really the best time to do that. So let me share my screen. And I am going to be in a different window while I'm navigating. So if you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the comments, and I will do my best to pop in and out to check them out. Okay, so the website that we're on right now is just a dummy testing website. So it doesn't have a ton of info in it, but I want to kind of show you what this looks like. So when you first come into your theme customizer, right, you're going to land on your homepage. And even just looking at this, you'll notice that the customizer looks a little bit different. So instead of having those like big giant blocks that you have now, you have this nested menu essentially. So if I close this up, right, first we have our image banner here. And when you open this up, you'll see each of the pieces of content have their own little block that you can either use or remove. So even in the pre-built sections, you have a lot more flexibility now. But let's go look at our product templates. So I'm going to go to this default one here. And this is the standard product template. And you have ways that you can customize it. Do you want it to be a drop down? Like all that same stuff you had before, you still have. But as you can see, the pieces of information, right? So your product information, your title, your price, your variant picker, your quantity selector, all of that is now included in individual blocks that you could, in theory, move around if you wanted to. Now, I don't really recommend that you do this. Like, don't go crazy, because there's a specific way people expect their product pages to look. But what it does mean is that you get a lot more flexibility down here. And this is where you could put additional information about the brand that this product belongs to if you wanted to. It also gives you more flexibility in how you display information. So I know we get really stuck on, okay, we've got this one description box and we just have to put all of our information in there. But you're going to have a lot more flexibility now, and you'll be able to do a lot more stuff. If you wanted to create a new one, you'll see here you have the default one, and then you've got some other templates that were, some of these were included and some of them I created just as a test here. But see this little create template button? So now I can say create template. I'm going to give it a name. New template. And you can base it on any of your existing product templates that you have. So I'm just going to base it on the default template. And now I can edit this completely independently of the other template that I had. So now you can see up top, I'm on the new template. So just to kind of show you, maybe I'm just going to hide all of this. You wouldn't actually do that. But now I save this template. And now I can go assign it to different products. So let's go look at the products really quick. I have two products, variant product and simple product. And as you can see, they are both on the same template. But if I go to one of these products and assign it a different template, now they're going to look totally different. And we'll go to one and we'll set that up so you can see it in real life. Now, while this is loading, so obviously that's a very simple example, but all of the blocks that you have available for your homepage in your theme, in a 2.0 theme, you will also have access to those on all of your other pages, all of your templates. So if you want to put a banner at the bottom of your product page, maybe you want to put a text and an image, like you're only limited by your imagination. If the section exists, you will be able to use it inside of your product template. So now I'm here on this product page, and I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom, and it's saying what template do you want to use. Now, if the theme that you have right now only has one template, excuse me, you won't see this option. As soon as you add a second one, then you will have the option to select here. So we're going to select new template and just save it. And now when I come back over and I was on variant product, let's refresh this. Might be cached. Give it a second to load. It will have a different template. Does that all make sense to you guys? Let me know if you have questions about the template specifically. And then this one's a little bit more straightforward. Now we're going to get into the Metafields, which is slightly more complicated, but still really, really easy. Having the product, the different templates is awesome. The Metafields, I think, are even more awesome, personally. Okay, this is making a liar out of me, and it's not. There we go. Give it a refresh, and now I don't have any of that product information on that product template. So I'm going to change this back, and then we're going to talk about Metafields. And I know a couple of you who couldn't be here for the live episode did submit your website, so we're going to take a peek at those as well and see if it makes sense for you to make the switch. All right, so let's talk about Metafields. Like I said, they're just additional information that you add to this product admin page right here that we're on. And the way that you do that is when you scroll all the way to the bottom, whatever Metafields you have created are going to show here. If you haven't created any yet, when you go into view all, you'll be able to create them, or you can go into settings and there'll be an option for Metafields and you can create them. And when it comes to creating them, the only thing you're really doing is what is it called? So you can see here I have one called feature image and one called care guide. And then you're also going to set the type of content that's going to be in there. So this one is an image, and then this one is just text. And I'll show you how you can use that inside of your template. So let's go back over here just so you can see. Right now on the, let me refresh this so you can see the full product page again. But essentially, I created a Metafield that would hold an image. And on today's BizBite podcast episode, I talked about Glass Ladder as the example where she's got, multiple different purses. She has like 6 different styles, and she has an image. It's like an infographic on each one of her product pages that talks more about that bag because they're all very intricate the way she designs them, and they're all a little different from one another. So doing something like this would be really helpful for her. If you have that image, instead of having to create a separate product template for every single one of her products so that she can show that image, Instead, she can have a metafield that holds an image, and then you just put the image in. That's what this is. This is just a photo added into a metafield that is part of this template. Follow what I'm saying here? We can go look at the template itself as well. So let's go see how this is done. I'm going to scroll down, and this is the section that we have. I believe it's this one, image banner. Yes. Yes. Okay. So here is the image banner. And when I click into this top level here, you're going to see I can pick my first image. And notice how it is assigned to a metafield. So I'm going to show you here on all of the where you're selecting something or you're entering content in, you're going to see these little 3 discs that are stacked. That's where you connect your dynamic source. So in this case, let me just remove dynamic source. You're going to click Connect Dynamic Source, and it's going to show you what metafields you have that fit that format. It's not showing me the other one because it's only text, whereas this is an image. So if I had multiple product metafields that were image fields, I would see them all here. So I'm just going to pick this, and then you hit Connect. And now it is attached to this particular product. If I come over to this product, the image banner is empty because I don't have that metafield with data on this particular product. So I would need to go put an image in there to pick that up. Everyone follow that? Can I get some emojis so I know you're along for the ride here? So one of the ways I mentioned you could do that, right, was if you had ingredients for products is really great. If you have specific images, maybe you have stories about a particular product that you want to share. And instead of having to, create the different templates for every single one, you can just use these metafields. Because the thing about templates, and if, we can go back to, we'll just look here. When I'm editing this template, whatever content I put in here, like whatever column or whatever image that I natively upload to the template is going to show across every product that uses that template. So the meta field allows you to show different different data across the different products using the same template. I know it's a little bit confusing, but hopefully the visual is making it easier to understand. So when it comes to all of this, right, you're really, like I said earlier, you're really only limited by your imagination. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do. Some of the ways that I've used it are like what I've already talked about. So you have the ingredients, maybe you're talking about a specific brand. Those are probably the easiest examples, or if you have specific products. And it just really depends a little bit on your business. So what do you guys sell, and what do you think that this would be beneficial for you, or do you feel like, it's cool, but it's probably not something I need right now? And then we're going to hop into some of the websites that were submitted, who they wanted my feedback about this. Okay. So here, and this is South Mountain Bees. Hey, Adriana, how are you? She's got a bunch of different products, and they probably all have a little bit of different information, right? And so this looks like it might be the original debut theme. I didn't check, but that's what it looks like to me. So I'm on her soap product right now. And obviously this top half looks normal. So we've got an image, title, all of that good stuff. And then as you scroll down and we look at the description is really long. Really long. And so the user has to scroll. And then we have product reviews. And then we have some other suggestions, product suggestions. Now, there is probably some adjustments she could do just with a different theme, even without, 2.0 per se, that maybe just lays this out a little bit different, or maybe it's more parallax, so like the photo kind of stays while the rest of your content scrolls, right? So you don't lose that image. But she does have ingredients, and I imagine the ingredients are all different, right, for all of her products. So that could be a really great way to use Metafields for this instead of having to put it in the description. And if she's got multiple different soaps, all of this, like natural scented soap, good for your skin, gentle on the planet, when soap is more than a soap, and even these awards, that could all be content that gets put at the bottom, and she could do with sections, right? And so maybe you've got some text and images, maybe there's some photos or logos of the rewards that she's received. Here, she's telling a really great story here. Did you ever smell something and the scent took you right back to childhood? Smells can teleport us to a very specific past moment. So true. And music too, songs too. I associate them with certain points in my life. So having this description here is great, but wouldn't it be great if we had like an image over here of, a kid playing in a field or something, having a really good time, to kind of just bring a little bit more emotion visually to the story that she's telling. So I do think that Shopify 2.0 and an upgraded theme could be pretty good for you and your products. But like I mentioned at the beginning, it really depends on where you are at in your business, because making that switch is not all of a sudden going to bring you more traffic. It's not necessarily going to skyrocket your conversion rate, right? It's just about presenting your product in a more elevated way. It's not going to solve any other problems you might have. So what I would say is, if you're happy with where you're at in terms of traffic and conversion and all of that, and creating content and understanding your customer, like all the other things, then yes, maybe this is a project that you want to work on. Oh, it is. Yes, debut doesn't let you do any of that. Correct. So if you were to make the switch to 2.0, the new theme that replaced debut is Dawn, and it would let you do that. There are also other Shopify themes that haven't necessarily, I don't think they've even been upgraded to 2.0 yet, but they do have more features than debut does. So that's something to consider as well. But it really is about, your particular priorities and what you're working on in your business right now. Is that you, Adriana, who said that? Debut doesn't let you do any of that? Because I just see Facebook user. Okay, cool. Okay, so yes, I do think there is opportunity for you, and we can talk more about that as well in the lounge if it's the right move for you right now. So the next person who submitted was In Style Hair Extensions. I'm blanking on her first name right now. Apologies, girl. But let's take a peek at what she's got going on. So she is selling, let's just go back to home really quick. I was poking around here. So obviously she's selling hair extensions. She's got some, here we go. So clip-ins, scrunchies, ponytails, and some halos. So let's go look at what her site looks like. So this is her collection. And if we go into one of them, so this theme is nice because it's already putting a lot of the important information underneath, right? So she has a little bit of information up here for the customer to make their buying decision. So that's good. And then if they need to know more, they can scroll down and everything is organized under these tabs. What could be really cool here is putting in maybe some educational content for each of the types of extensions, right? So, you know, maybe it's a video on how to put the clip-ins in versus here's how to do the halo and here's how to attach the ponytail and the scrunchie and all that. And that is content that you could put on the product pages. So you could either have, if you had a video for each one, then you could do a Metafield and then you just attach you put the video in the Metafield for all of your halo products. Or you could do it with different templates. In this case, the templates might actually be easier because instead of having to assign the video to every individual collection or every individual product, you just assign the halo template. And you know, again, I would ask, where are you at with everything else in your business? What is your priority right now? I think it's a nice to have for you. I don't think it's a must have. There's another client that I've worked with, and I'm working with her right now, and we're migrating her to 2.0. And I'm going to explain why it's so important. Is she has not updated her theme in like 3 years. So she's been on Shopify for a long time. She has a huge assortment of product. She's got a lot of very specific brands that she works with. And she's, you know, surpassed, she's into the multi-7 figures right now. Everything else in her business is working. And now it's really time to take her website up to the same level as the rest of her business, which is why it was so important that we do that now. And we're working on it literally right now. But it made sense for her. So I want you guys to consider all of the things that are happening. I just don't want you to get like shiny object syndrome, right? And be like, oh, I have to just have the latest thing, because you don't necessarily have to have the latest thing. So there's that. Oh, you're so welcome, Adriana. And that's kind of the main answer there. And I know it's not a hard and fast answer. You know, I never give those because it just depends. There's just too many variables, and it depends on your business, where you're at, your product, and all of that good stuff. I mean, they're nifty little features. You can do a lot with them. I think if it solves a pain point that you're dealing with right now, then more power to you. Go for it. Figure out when you can set aside time to do it. Just know that it's going to take a little bit to get all the content together and organized and set up. But otherwise, you can totally just wait. So how are you guys feeling? I'd love to know if you feel like, oh, I totally want 2.0, or if you're like, oh, maybe I can wait. And if you're watching the replay, tell me too, because I'll still see your comments after the fact. So curious about it. All right. Well, we're at our 30-minute mark, so that was perfect timing. You know, I love to keep these weekly lives to about 30 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me here live or catching the replay. If you do have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will come back and answer them. And then before we go, I just wanted to share some thoughts that I've been having and get a read and kind of sense of where you are at with it. So I think it was since the Facebook group has surpassed 500 members, I can no longer invite you all to my events. The only way it's worked is by doing it one by one. Or selecting one by one. If I try and select all, even though it just selects the max number of invites I'm allowed to do at a time, it errors out and it says like, this is against our community standards. And I know a lot of you guys have been mentioning, oh, I can't find the lives, or I'm missing them. You guys aren't seeing posts, and it's kind of been a mess. So I've been considering moving the free group onto a Mighty network. So my lounge members for our membership is hosted on Mighty Networks, and that is hosted inside of a course, which is inside the overall Mighty Network. The whole network itself right now is just sort of a lobby, right? Like nothing really happens there. You just go into the courses or the groups that you're a part of. So I've been considering moving this group onto that main Mighty network. And I'm hesitant to do it because I know we're all already on Facebook. I did put a poll in the group the other day asking how you first found this group. And I think it was maybe 4 people said they found it organically through Facebook. Everyone else came from my podcast or heard me on someone else's podcast. So I'm like, well, I don't need it for the visibility because it's not helping me there. It's making it hard for everyone to see my posts. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I haven't totally decided yet. I know that it will be a little bit of confusion in the beginning to learn a new platform, but let me tell you a little bit about what makes Mighty Networks amazing, and then you can kind of decide how you feel about it. So one is everyone gets a profile. So yes, you have your personal profile here on Facebook, but this is a profile where you can add all the information about your business. You can put links in there. It's a really great opportunity for you guys to just kind of peek around who might be a great option to collaborate with, who do you want to learn more about, who do you want to connect with, etc., who's maybe in the same industry as you, who could help you with some things that you're struggling with. So that's really cool. And then it's just a much easier way for me to house content and organize content. So I would likely move my free resource library in there, which if you're on my email list, you already have access to that. And you have to go to my website and put in the password and download the things. This is something I could put in there as a open free course that you could just easily get access to all the time. Plus, anytime I release a new course, which that's a big focus for me this year, is getting all these digital courses together already. And that's where they will all be hosted. So you don't have to worry about missing anything because they'll just be in there and you can get notified. And then you have a lot more control over your notifications. It's not algorithmic, right? Like Facebook decides what you see, where in this case, you control what you see. So that's what I'm thinking about. It's a little bit scary, and I know it'll be rough in the beginning, but I think it'll be worth it in the long term. But I would love to know if you would come hang out with me there, or if you're just like, no, if it's not on Facebook, I'm not going to come. That's kind of what I'm curious about. On that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you have any questions about this, drop them in the comments. If you have any questions about anything, really, drop them in the group. I always get in here as soon as I can to answer. Hope you're having a kick-ass week, and I'll talk to you soon, friends.